Could I call the member for Northern Tablelands, please?
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. All of us in this House would be familiar with the state-managed program Hidden Treasures and the very popular Hidden Treasures Honour Roll, where the wonderful volunteers within our rural communities are recognised for their efforts and given the proverbial pat on the back. As we know, Mr Deputy Speaker, it's volunteers that are the backbone, arms and legs of country New South Wales that make the most meaningful contribution to our communities and really give true meaning to the word that we bandy around so readily in this place, community. I can assure the House today, Mr Deputy Speaker, that in the community of Glen Innes, in the beautiful Northern Tablelands region, we have one such hidden treasure, although I must admit that there is nothing hidden about her. And of course I'm talking about Jan SHARMAN. Not only has Jan been a member, president, secretary, treasurer and dog's body for many organisations in Glen Innes, but has been at the forefront for quite a few dog fights in her life with bureaucracy, politicians and anyone else who would stand in her way to achieve her goal of helping her beloved community of Glen Innes achieve their goals and address the actions at the top of their to-do list. Now, I've heard from the family grapevine that Jan's community work started as far back as the 1950s and 1960s. She was 18 and had just moved to Glen Innes from the coast. As a swimmer, she was put out by the fact there was no town swimming pool in Glen Innes. So what did she do? She certainly didn't sit around complaining about the problem. She got involved in a fundraising campaign and urged the council to build one. She actually got in trouble, Mr Assistant Speaker, for selling raffle tickets in the main street, as it was considered at that time in society inappropriate for a young woman of her standing to be by herself selling raffle tickets in the main street, and it was reported to her parents. However, the pool was eventually built. Job done, rest on your laurels, not on your life. Jan became equally determined, along with her fundraising cohorts, to then heat the pool. And when her two young children decided it was time to learn to swim, she had them in the pool as well. I tell this little tale as an indication of Jan's grit and determination, which is the foundation stone for her continuing involvement and advocacy for her community's needs. At the age of 78, Jan is still a very active member of the Anglican Parish Council, where she has worked tirelessly for over 40 years, successfully organising the church fete, assisted with the training of debutantes for the debutante ball, helping with the day-to-day running of the parish business as well. She was head of the Holy Trinity Anglican Church Catering Committee for over 30 years, ensuring no one who attended a church function went away without a cuppa and a scone. She is a committee member of the Carinya Retirement Village and the Community Information Centre. When her children were at school, she was always helping out with a lunch at the school and always and any tasks that were needed to be done. Jan has been a member of the Glen Innes Hospital Auxiliary for over 40 years, and she's actually helped raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for the hospital to purchase much needed equipment to support the work of the hospital staff. When I first came across Jan in 2012, she was doing her best to garner support from the then member for Northern Tablelands, my predecessor, Richard Torbay, and helping gather 10,000 signatures so he could petition the Parliament to begin a debate on the provision of new hospitals for Glen Innes and Inverell. Her efforts were supported by the local newspaper, and that campaign saw her gather over 6,000 signatures from Glen Innes. Not bad for a town with a population, according to the ABS, of only 5,000 people. Be assured, Mr Assistant Speaker, that Jan's energy and determination knows no bounds. Her most recent campaign has been to see a helipad built at the Glen Innes Hospital. At present, the rescue helicopter lands at a town park where patients have to be ferried by ambulance to and from. Again, Jan has rallied the troops. The auxiliary has already raised over $80,000 and the community has pledged further funds when the construction date is settled. The campaign has not been an easy one, I can assure you of that. Jan has locked horns on many occasions with the health bureaucracy, thankfully not with me, and the project is not moving fast enough for her liking. Indeed, things can't happen quicker enough for Jan. Jan has been acknowledged with an Order of Australia Medal in 2013 for her huge amount of work, and has been honoured as a Glen Innes Citizen of the Year. And it has been my great honour this year to award Jan the Northern Tablelands 2016 Local Woman of the Year. Well done, Jan. Keep up the great work.
The member for Orange and Parliamentary Secretary in reply.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'd like to thank the member for Northern Tablelands for that contribution. He often refers to the Glen Innes area as GOC, God's own country. God's own country, Mr Speaker. And it is fitting that he's made this tribute to Jane Sharman, OAM, today. She certainly is a hidden treasure, perhaps not so hidden anymore, as the member for Northern Tablelands points out, and she hasn't done all of her community work for the accolades, but this House does need to recognise her achievements, which started in the 1950s with the scandalous practice back then of selling tickets unaccompanied in the main street of Glen Innes, for which she was duly reported to her parents. Glen Innes has come a long way since those days, and much of the development and community spirit can be attributed to Jane Sharman, OAM, and those like her who work tirelessly for that community and make it the great place to live that it is. Thank you, member for Northern Tablelands, and Jane Sharman, OAM, we salute you.
The